great lunch. And as we commence the next session, it's one interesting one, and I would like to give a short brief on that. Unlocking bilateral growth and global impact through Western Australia India space collaboration. And what do we exactly have it inside this session is India, a global space leader in launch, satellite and downstream capabilities, and Western Australia with its geographic advantages in ground infrastructure, communications, space domain awareness, and space to Earth tech transfer, are uniquely positioned to shape the Indo-Pacific space economy. As Indian Ocean neighbors, India and Western Australia stand to mutually benefit from deeper space collaboration, advancing infrastructure, innovation, regional resilience, and improving both human and environmental outcomes. Wow, that's quite a great thing. And I would like to invite our esteemed moderator, Mr. Martinus, to take over dive from here onwards. Please, sir.
Thank you very much, and also thank you so much for coming to the first session after lunch. This is quite incredible for all of us. Very quickly again, my name is Martinus, Australian Government Trade and Investment Commissioner for India, Gulf. It's my pleasure again, and thank you for coming to welcome you here. What we might do now is just play a short video, and then I'll come back. Thank you. A few more points from me. Again, a pleasure to be here today. I just want to tell you a little bit about Western Australia. We are the largest state in Australia. We have 2.6 million square kilometres of land. We have consistently the highest share of exports of any Australian jurisdiction, which equals $234 billion, 45% of all of Australia's total. We also produce about $1 billion a day of goods and services production capacity. So very easy math, 365 days in a year and about 365 billion of output. Western Australian Government's also proud for the second year in a row to sponsor this Congress with our sixth biggest trading partner. Our history in space spans over 60,000 years, and as you can see from the screen, with the Aboriginal peoples of Western Australia looking into the skies as the world's first astronomers. Across more than 100 Aboriginal groups in Western Australia, constellations and celestial movements are used to guide seasonal changes, agricultural practice, time ceremonies, and also the embedding of stories and knowledge through songlines. Aryabhata, India's 5th century astronomer, calculated planetary orbits and proposed Earth's rotation centuries ahead of Europe. I do apologise to my Italian friends in the room, but at least Melbourne is close to Milan anyway. Both the traditions reflect profound place-based cosmic understanding, rooted in observation and cultural continuity, laying the foundation for our aspirations in space today. India has emerged as a global space powerhouse, highlighted through world-leading capabilities in satellite technology, launch downstream services, as well as historic space exploration milestones, like ISRO's Chandrayaan and Gaganyaan lunar missions. India's space economy is now the fastest growing in the world, driven by dynamic startups, and I've just heard about a few of them today that already blew my mind. Rapid iterative testing and evaluation and supportive regulatory reform. As Indian Ocean neighbours, Western Australia and India are uniquely positioned to collaborate in the space domain and provide services at scale across the Indo-Pacific and across all industry sectors, and there's probably never been a better time in the world to be collaborating for humanity, really. While WA does not have the same space heritage as India, the state is already home to more than 130 international and Australian space organisations. With our geographic location, advantages for ground infrastructure and strength in engineering and space research, we believe we are the ideal partner, as well as New South Wales and others, no competition here, to support and scale India's space ambitions. WA brings to the table unmatched geographic advantages over the 2.6 million square kilometres for activity including launch, mission operations, comms, space tracking, cyber and AI capability, and radio astronomy. Recognising these comparative advantages, the WA government has identified the space industry as a priority sector for development, setting the ambitious goal to be for the state to be the place for space. WA's southern hemisphere location on the Indian Ocean rim makes it ideal for tracking satellites in both polar and equatorial orbits. It offers critical coverage windows for India's launch trajectories from the Sireesh and future missions. Other notable place ground infrastructure in the state include half of the European Space Agency's deep space ground station network at our new Norcia location, which is only 120 kilometres from the Perth CBD. Half of the biggest radio telescopes in the world, as part of our square kilometre array, also reside in our state. The US DoD Space Surveillance Telescope and Defence Advanced Radar capabilities based at Exmouth. An ISRO ground station being developed in the Cocos-Keeling Islands was also developed by India's ISRO mission. WA capabilities in space research and space-to-earth technology transfer make it a natural partner to complement and extend India's space ambitions across the Indo-Pacific. There's significant demand for space tech and data in West Australia's major industry sectors, and you all know what they are, especially in mining, oil and gas and resources, critical minerals, energy and agriculture. At Fugro's Space Automation, Artificial Intelligence and Robotics Control Complex, SpAARC, in Perth City Centre, they are providing remote ops both in space and on Earth, and they were selected recently as the Contingency Control Centre for Intuitive Machines lunar missions. Further developing our strong ties in international education, there's a clear opportunity to co-develop next-gen space workforce within our 3 universities in WA, focusing on this area. To build local space manufacturing skills, the WA government is supporting LabConnect 60 AI and Edith Cowan University, who are establishing the commercial satellite assembly capabilities. So, similar to Make in India, we have a Made in WA mantra as well, involving postgrad students, interns and postdoctoral fellows. Finally, building on these complementary capabilities, Western Australia and India have the opportunity to co-develop resilient infrastructure, deliver real-world benefits across the Indo-Pacific, from climate monitoring to precision agriculture, to resources to space exploration. Without further ado, please put your hands together for the moderator today, the wonderful Chris Cubbage. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ian, and it's a real pleasure to be here today. Thank you for taking time out of the main program to be here. I'm going to, without further ado, I'll introduce the panel, but it's a real pleasure to be here in India. It follows our Indo-Pacific Space and Earth Conference that we held in Perth, and also that was alongside the Asia-Pacific Regional Space Agency Forum. So just in November we had a WA Space Week. As Ian said, WA is the place for space. Don't worry if you hear from the other states in particular in terms of their tagline. But again, what we'll try to do in terms of this session is unlocking that bilateral growth. Something that we've really determined since our conferences and the APR SAT is to keep those discussions going. And as I think you've heard from the video and Ian's introduction, there's pretty much every aspect of the space sector in WA. And there's real opportunities here to join with India from various forms of collaboration, workforce development and technology transfer as well. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the stage our panellists. We'll start with Dr. Pavaluru, who we all know in terms of advanced technology. Thank you. And also Dr. Kumar, Director with InSpace. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you check out our channel, Australian Space TV, I interviewed Dr. Kumar in Adelaide at the Australian Space Forum, I think just last year, believe, but that was also when you were launching your startup fund as well, so we'll come back to that. And for our Australian guest as well, please welcome Dr. Siddharth Pandey, Deputy Project Manager with Fugro SpAARC, one of our national partners, Sireesh Pallikonda, VP Business Development and Launch Services with Skyroot Aerospace, their Indian partner, and Venkat, Pillay, co-founder with LabConnect 60, also one of our national partners. And are we missing one, or we just got one too many seats? Oh, beg your pardon. And we're, in fact, last but not least, Nathan Davis, the Australian Trade Commissioner to India. Nathan, so sorry, I don't know where your name was on my list. But thank you so much, gents. It's a real privilege. Dr. Pavaluru, we'll start with you. In fact, I think your antecedents that was given to me was slightly under the numbers. I think you've launched 88 satellites and 61 launch vehicles, but you've broken the 100 mark, I understand. And we welcomed you in Perth last year, and previously on stage you visited Fugro and the like. Maybe get your thoughts and share with the audience your reflection on your visit to Perth. Was that your first visit to Perth as well? Yeah, wonderful. So we had an Indian delegation to IPSEC in Perth in November. That's also a finalist also in the Indian Australia Business Community Awards this year as well, which will be held in New Delhi and Mumbai. So we're very pleased to welcome the Indian delegation. I'll hand over to you and maybe give you reflections from November in Perth and what you see in terms of the opportunity and unlocking that bilateral growth.
Thank you. Thank you for many subjects. Okay. Anyway, friends, so distinguished panelists, distinguished participants here. I'm speaking more as the President of the SACA Association. not as a CMD of Anand Technologies. Since you asked a question which is relevant to that, I must say that, we are also the first company to work with the space-related activities outside the government in the country. So we started about 30 years ago. Then there was, nobody was thinking about anything to do in space. We started about 30 years ago. And since then, we contributed to 103 satellites, which ISRO is making on that, and 88 launch vehicles. In other words, as you know, the space has 3 segments: launch vehicle, satellite, and its applications. We are into all 3 segments of Indian space program and Indian space program recognized on that. So this is the background. So we have facilities in Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Trivandrum, and we are also launch vehicles in Trivandrum and satellite vehicles in Bangalore. And like this, we have been working on this project. And now, when it comes to that visit, it's a wonderful visit that we had it from SIA side, and we participated in the exhibition too on that, to showcase what India can do for Australia and what kind of collaboration between Australia and India can happen. So we found a lot of opportunities of collaboration. See, in space there is nothing competition, there is only collaboration in that. So we work more on the collaboration point of view, from the point of view. And we look at very, very many opportunities, what India can do to Australia, what Australia can do for India. So because of the position of Australia in the globally, so it has a lot of advantages in terms of tracking the satellites, lot of other, which are already have been making use of that. And whereas India also can become a kind of a collaborator in terms of manufacturing many things for them. And in this case, I must make you notice that we have a Maitri program between India and Australia. The program is called Maitri program, in which that India and Australia collaborate in making the innovative systems, the space systems for that. So that's what we are working, and working with many companies in Australia in that regard.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And when this phone works, thank you. Dr. Cubbage, we'll come to you. Took a quote from Dr. Goenke this morning, the chairman of InSpace. It was about creating a vision and also those anchor projects and faster execution as well. Maybe introduce us to InSpace in Australia. You were there at the Australian Space Forum last year. And maybe some of your takeaways from the Australian sector as well, but just how Australia and India can share a renewed vision and have some anchor projects. We will hear some WA projects here, but do you find that we're doing enough and there's always more to do?
See, very good afternoon. It's a very interesting question. I think in space we need not define here. I think all of you know because, right, so I will not go, so, but still we have many activities we have taken up. So what are they? So we start with the government job is to enable the private sector, give the vision to space sector. So this was first time the commercial space sector vision for space economy we have brought out a document where we aspire to go. We are presently around 2%. We aspire to go to 8% of the global space economy, that is $44 billion. Then we have many other schemes like we have technology adoption fund. I will start from here. We have pre-incubation entrepreneurship development program where graduates plus final year students can give their ideas, we will fund them. Then if they are classified, then we will ask them to register a company, followed by, if they are successful in POC, then we will go for seed fund scheme, they are eligible up to 1 CR. We have technology adoption fund, then we have VC fund, venture capital fund. So it covers full spectrum, wherever you are. We don't want to leave anyone. 5 programs such a unique that it is not only for students but to anyone 70 year, 80 year, if you have an idea, give it to us, we will get it vetted and you are there to get full advice plus support from InSpace. But you have to work. So these are the kind of some of the programs in addition to normal like authorization we are doing and all these things. Keeping it short, we have very unique skill development program. There are 2 parts. One is that 10 courses we have in space sector. All verticals they are covering in details. And this 1 week course are such a, I get a package, power pack package I call it, available for industry and academia to work on that. And this is delivered by the people, each course has roughly 1,000 hours of experience. 30 hours, 30 year plus experience they have, they will deliver the content. Then we have designed the syllabus for Space Tech Minor, and I'm very happy to tell over 15 institutions have already adopted. 1,200 plus students have already taken up space education. So,
Is there opportunities for collaboration there?
yes, that's what I am emphasizing that academic institutions, I am heading a committee on adoption of space tech education in India. I see a lot of emphasis. Many universities has informed me 140 applications for PhD. So that's the kind of emphasis. Each class, 60 class, 93 registration, 75 registration, they have to stop. So there is a great demand for this, and it's a very good opportunity. I'll come to my visit to Australia, where it was a very interesting visit, and Australia is a country. It comes on the top of collaboration. Over 30 plus MOU, LOI, and these things are presented there. When I went last year July to Australia, 9 were signed within 2 days. That's the kind of emphasis, and they are on ground. I am very happy to tell that there is a strong collaboration between Indian companies and Australian companies. Like Hex 20 is manufacturing in India. Lab Connect has intention, he will tell me will add later. And they are part of Space Mastery, very unique mission. The mission itself name is Mission for Australia-India Technological Research and Innovation. Very unique way, and it is going very far. $20 billion roughly grant ISI. I was a part of that to select the company. It has come out well, and I think Anant is one of the partners, NSIL is also there, then Digantra. So it's a good collaboration, and I see a lot of enthusiasm and opportunity in relation to collaboration in R&D. I see that you have very good center in Western Australia for optical this thing, array of half a square kilometer array of antennas are there. They're very good opportunity for research, collaboration, and use the data analysis. So I see a lot of opportunity between India and Australia.
In my recollection, that was your first visit to Australia at the time as well, do I recall?
Yeah, last year it was my first year.
Okay, so we've got you both there. That's the main thing. I think that's the most important. Nathan, maybe to you, relatively new in the role, 6 months in the line. One thing I wanted to ask was your early observations on the scale of the partnership here, particularly around space, but you know, defence. We've also got the Quad security dialogue as well. But yeah, just your early observations on the scale and opportunities here within the relationship.
Thanks, Chris. As Chris mentioned, 6 months in the role as the Trade Commissioner for Space for the Australian Federal Government. I guess working with Ian and other state agencies to support the Australian ecosystem into India. Early observations have been really promising. I mean, there's already great work going on, as already evidenced by Dr. Kumar, the ISA grants and Maitri program. But I think that the complementarity aspect of the Australian ecosystem in India is really good. Of course, we've got interim FTA agreement with ECTA, hopefully a full FTA soon with CECA. So at the high level, there's absolutely a special relationship, and moving down the Australia-India Space MOU cooperation agreement signed in 2023, I think. Again, it's further evidence of that growing relationship in space, and I think you start to see that vibrancy, foreshadowed, hoping for some more Australian companies to enter into the market, but I think that interface is really growing quite strongly. We've got half a dozen Australian startup organisations in India already, and hopefully well beyond more than a dozen within the next couple of years. So
it definitely feels like the policy framework is done. Is there still more work to do? Is it just a matter of managing it now, or because as you say, it's quite broad and quite detailed as well in terms of how advanced it's become?
Well, I'm always an advocate for more sort of work to be done. I don't think that we're ever in a sort of advantage point where we can say job done and then move on. I think that one of the roles that I like to occupy is sharing back the insights from business and from organisations, both in Australia and India, back into the Australian government, back into the Indian channels, about how that collaboration can work further, what are the pain points. We've got good dialogue with InSpace already in the Australian Space Agency about industry collaboration and what further can be done. But I don't think it's job done yet, no. I think that it's one of those things that we continue to work away at, and as both of our emerging ecosystems in space continue to grow and prosper, the policy dialogue shifts with that to sort of support and facilitate further engagement.
Well, I definitely think, and thank you for the support that you've had. I think it signals that the Australian government is well behind this relationship very, very strongly. It's one of the strongest. And I think, as was pointed out this morning, India is the 6th largest trading partner to West Australia alone, let alone at a national level as well. So, yeah, I think good signals there, mate. Thank you very much. Venkat, maybe to you, introduce us to that Connect 60, doing some very interesting work. And I think we'll also that'll lead on to SpAARC as well. But yeah, maybe the relationship you've got with India now and maybe some projects. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, so thanks, Chris. I think Pillay Connect 60, just for people who don't know, we started off as a data analytics company. So I've got a space background, so I always wanted to push the company into the space sector, but we started very downstream, as I call it, where we were looking at solving problems with agriculture, with the mining industry, with oil and gas, using a variety of different data sets from IoT to drone flybys and then satellite. And very quickly, with my satellite hat on, because I spent close to 18 years in North America with the likes of Maxar and MDA, working on radar imaging satellites, optical imaging satellites, I said, you know what, I think we need to bring the space element in, and that's how we kind of progressed the company from being more of a data company into being a vertically integrated Earth observation company. I know that's all the rage now, everyone likes to talk about vertical integration, but we kind of fell into it a bit more naturally where it was driven by market demand. So fast forward where we are today, we saw the Australia-India opportunity and the SIA-INDIA program as a very strategic program to be involved in. We're very grateful, we're very honored to be a selected company that got funding through that program, and through that program we're actually building a very novel satellite in Australia that will be launched in India with Skyroot Aerospace. We're very excited by this because it's, you know, for me it exemplifies that end-to-end capability where there is a development in Australia of key hardware. There's a key milestone in that project that is being achieved out of India with the launch in India with Skyroot. And we want to see more of that continue, where there is further investment into build either way, whether it's a satellite in India that's launched in Australia, a satellite in Australia launched in India, or bits of both, right? And I think that that's the kind of collaboration we would like to see at Connect 60. But just to give you an idea of the program itself, we're building a very high resolution shortwave infrared imaging satellite. And why shortwave infrared? We saw a gap in the market for that type of data for agriculture, for methane and CO2 monitoring, and also for mineral exploration. And I would be remiss as a Western Australian company to not look at the mineral side, because the top four, for those who don't know, the top 4 mining companies in the world are headquartered in Western Australia, and that is one of the reasons why it's a very rich and wealthy state. I often joke that the Premier of Western Australia has a sign-off budget bigger than a lot of the Southeast Asian countries put together. So a lot of people don't talk about that, but if you go and see Premier Cook, he has no bodyguards, no drivers. You could probably meet him on the side of the road in central Perth, so very down-to-earth Premier. But that's one of the plus points in working in Western Australia, and as a Western Australian company, we see a lot of support coming in from the state government in terms of how we establish, in working with Indian companies such as Skyroot, you know, how further co-funding can be unlocked, provided we establish the projects in a way that it has a mutual benefit, mutual outcome. By the way, the SpAARC program has ready off-takers, so it's not just a grant-funded program. I've got clients from Petronas in Malaysia who are going to off-take the data once it is launched, Woodside, Inpex in Japan. We are looking for clients actively in India as well, which is one of the reasons, as Nathan mentioned, we're setting up a subsidiary in India where we will work with InSpace to have access to ground stations, to be able to build out the the analytics and services around the satellite constellation for the use of Indian end users as well. So very much commercial focused, building out commercial programs with satellite. That's what we
I think one thing you